Hey, Todd Falcone here in my office, and a little tip today on organization. So, not always a real fun subject to talk about necessarily, but an important subject. And that is tracking your leads and tracking your prospects and your sales, and how someone goes from point A to point B to not losing them somewhere in the cracks. And I've had enough experience in working leads and I'm not talking about purchase leads for that matter. I'm just talking about prospects and moving prospects from meeting someone to getting to know them, to presenting some information, to doing some business, to following up and maintaining that relationship where, I've done a number of different things in terms of how I track stuff over the years. And, with a 25-year plus history in selling and direct sales, I've tried a lot of different things, and I guess I've settled down into something that I feel has worked really well for me. And I've had enough conversations with people pretty frequently, in fact, where they're struggling, like, hey, how do you manage it all? Like, how do you not let stuff slip through the cracks, and how do you not lose people? And I'm not perfect. I'm sure somebody slip through the cracks every now and then, but I've got a pretty good organizational structure that I use, and I figure I'd share that with you today. So, and it's pretty low tech. So a lot of you guys know that I use this thing. It's an Adams S1185. It's S as in Sam 1185. It's a call log, and this is what a blank sheet looks like in it. I've talked about this before. Basically just has the date and time, the name, their phone number, and then an area over here for notes. And I literally log every incoming or outgoing phone call that I make. In fact, you can see, like, this is like one of many logs, but no matter what the phone call is about, it gets logged. So I have a record of like every phone call that I make. So if I check my voicemail and there are 5 voicemail messages that I've got to return, as I make those calls, they get logged into the call log. If I'm working off of a list of referrals or whatever, as I'm making the calls, they go here. If I've gone to, excuse me, I'm going to go off camera for a second, maybe. If I've gone to a seminar and I've got a stack of business cards, and I may be making phone calls to those people, as I call this person, it gets logged. As I call this person, it gets logged. As I call this person, it gets logged. The other thing I'll also say is, I don't know if you'll be able, you may not be able to read this, but you might be able to see that there's some print on the back of this card. This is actually a card from someone I met recently at an event. I would really recommend this, that anytime you meet someone, like you go to a mixer, an event, whatever it is, you've stopped, shook somebody's hand, gotten to know them a little bit. I will, as soon as I leave that conversation, I'll walk away, I'll pull out my pen right here, right? And I'll put notes on the back of the card. And about really relevant to the conversation, how I met the person, where they're from, what I learned about them. And then if I leave an event and I have, 5, 10, 15 business cards or something like that, I've got notes so I can remember all these different conversations that are on the back of these cards, so that when I do make the phone call, I remember, what we talked about. So that's just kind of an organizational thing that'll help you. And you're like, wait, you probably left an event before, and like, wow, I have this giant stack of cards, and I don't even know who is this person. Why do I have that person's card? What did I talk to that person about? Well, if you have notes on the back, you'll remember. So that'll be real helpful. Now, here's what happens. So I log all my calls, no matter what the call is, incoming call, and then I'm returning the phone call, I'll log it. If I'm calling somebody from a business card, if I'm calling somebody from wherever, I'm going to put it in the call log. Now, I also have a calendar, and my calendar and my phone is plugged in over here, so I'm not going to go over here. But what I do is, this is like the tracking, this is how I track it. So let's say I've logged a phone call in here. Obviously, this is a blank sheet, but I logged a phone call to Tom Smith. And Tom Smith and I had a conversation about whatever, about the business, and he was interested in seeing the presentation. And I have even a notation here that says, hey, saw the 12-minute presentation as an example. I'm going to be scheduling a follow-up appointment with him. So when I do that, and I'm going to go over here real quick while I'm chatting with you guys, I will end up putting it, I don't know if you can see this very well on the camera, but I'll end up putting it into my calendar, right? So I'll put it into my calendar. So it'll be in my, I use a Mac, so it'll go in iCal. I was using a Windows machine before, and I was putting it into Microsoft Outlook. So I put it in there as a scheduled appointment. So I also, by the way, hang on a second, and I'll go over here if I can locate it quick enough. Hold on, hang tight. A little early in the morning here. I just got back from the gym, and hold time. Okay, so now also there is my address book. So you can't really probably read this, but I've got my address book here. And so if I had somebody, and by the way, just because you're here doesn't necessarily mean you make it into my address book. My address book is like a permanent record of that person. That means I know I want to have a conversation with you again. So I've had a good conversation with you from here, and I really think, okay, I'm probably going to have some kind of relationship with you at now or at some point in the future. I want to have a permanent record of you in my address book. So I will literally put you in, I'll type in information about you into my computer, name, phone, email, comments that I'm taking from here, and now I have a permanent record of that in here. So not every person goes from here into here. I don't take, like if I was working a lead list, I don't take a lead list and put my entire lead list into my calendar, because that certainly just wouldn't make sense. But it's a very easy management tool. This just gives me a record of everything. So every call I've ever made, if God forbid something happened and I don't know, like I lost all my data, I have a record of all of this, and I have stacks and stacks and stacks of these things that are full. And they're easy to get. It's an Adams S1185. You can find them from any office supply store, I think, and do it online. And then I have obviously a calendar, and I have a digital calendar. Back in the day, I had a like a Franklin planner, like a paper calendar, and you can, if that's the way you roll, that's cool too. But I think, in today's day and age, it's also a little bit easier to manage an electronic address book. And in my address book, if I look at the numbers, I have, hang on a second, I have 6,279 contacts in my address books. And those are all people that I've actually had conversations with. So I have names, phone numbers, email addresses, not that have been collected through the only way they've been collected is through me having a conversation. You don't even go in there until I've had a conversation with you. So if it's on here and it's in there, I'm not likely to lose the contact. Okay, you're in my calendar as a follow-up appointment. So I know, for example, today, I don't know when you're watching this video, it doesn't matter, but today is Monday, and in my calendar for today, Monday, I have a couple of notes of things I've got to do in the morning. On my calendar, I have my 5 p.m. Monday night call, which I do almost every Monday night, and it's in my calendar. I see Tuesday I have my A-team call. Wednesday, I have a handful of coaching appointments. Thursday, I've got a handful of appointments, and it's all right here in front of me. So I'll never lose track of that, because the calendar's there, and it syncs into my iPhone. So if I'm not in front of my computer, I have access to all my contacts. I have access to my calendar, regardless of where I go. So this is the way I do it. It works for me, and it's just the way I've been doing it for a long period of time, and I don't really lose contacts. I've got a double record because I got it here and I got it in my computer, and I don't lose people. So hopefully that helps you, and we'll see you on another video soon. Bye.